Good morning, fishers. It is a Friday, and I tell you what, Port Stephens, wow, how busy has Port Stephens been this week? And the fishing has been absolutely sensational, especially in the bay. Now, shout out to all our visiting anglers that are visiting Port Stephens. Actually, watch our fishing report. So, pretty stoked about that. So, lots of visiting anglers to Port Stephens this week, and they watch our fishing report each and every Friday. So, shout out to the visiting anglers, and they've been catching some good fish as well. We're putting them in the right direction, catching some absolute horse fish in the bay at the moment. Where we begin with this week, well, it's flathead week this week. That's what I'm going to call it, dusky flathead week. I tell you what, been sent a lot of photos of some really, really nice flatties in the bay at the moment, which is good to see. It is perfect timing for catching big flatties. The water's warmed up. We've had those obviously warmer days, which means the bay's warming up and the big flatties are coming out to play. So the best this week that I was sent was a 92 centimetre fish caught by Kurt, and that was down at Corlette, and he was lucky, 10 pound fluorocarbon leader, so an absolute beauty. Chris sent me a photo of an 80 centimetre fish, Colsey's been fishing pretty well up the Karua system. He got a 77 centimetre fish. I'll tell you what, some great flatties in the bay. I know Paul from Fishport Stephens Estuary Charters, he's been putting his customers onto some absolute beauties. I think one young fella got one about 80 centimetres this week as well. Junior anglers have been catching them, which is good to see. And mentioning that, our junior fishing competition ends tomorrow, being Saturday afternoon at 5 p.m. And I tell you what, we've got some good entries. And I think last count, I think we had close to 140 kids. 138 kids entered our kids competition for this school holidays. That's massive. I'll tell you what, it's great to see as well. Parents coming in and opening their wallets up for their kids to buy plenty of gear, that's for sure. So maybe some kids need to do some car washing over these next few days. Anyway, good to see. So like I said, flatties are definitely out and about, and the Karua system fishing really, really well. The upper reaches of the Karua fishing particularly well up past the bridges, in behind the racks there. So if you want to fish that last of the incoming tide and the first of the outgoing tide, some really nice fish up the Karua system. Then up Tillagary. Tillagary's had a little bit of patchy sort of fishing at the moment, that's slime weed, but there are pockets of good sort of area up that way behind the racks that are holding some nice fish. So Tillagary still worth a go, and I think it'll get better as we move into, well, getting off these bigger tides as well. We had some massive tides this week with the full moon. So next week should fish pretty well up the Tillagary. North Arm Cove's seen some good flatties as well. And then back down the system, around Wanda Headland through Corlette. Even Little Beach has seen some flatties, although it's standing room only at Little Beach. There has been some good flatties if you get up early. And Shoal Bay as well, especially out the front of the caravan park. You get there at first light, throw a soft plastic or even a pilly around there, you will catch a couple of good flatties. Over the other side, I know the mole system's been fishing pretty well too. So flatties in the bay at the moment. A few jewel around as well. Harley sent me a photo of a cracking fish that he caught on 3 pound leader. So that was a really nice fish. I think he was fishing for brim and got a really nice mulloway fishing for brim there on 3 pound leader. There's been a few behind Soldiers Point. The bigger tides have made it hard to fish that area. Definitely up the Karua there. I know Jack, my good mate Jack, he caught a few smaller fish on Vibes up around the bridges there. Just a quick mention to Jack, I've got to congratulate him. Fished the Flathead Classic up at the Gold Coast last week, and he actually cleaned up. So two-person team, him and his mate, and they actually won that two-person team. And there was over 800 anglers in that tournament. And for a bloke to come from Port Stephens and fish the Gold Coast and catch flatties, I tell you what, he's done really, really well. I think he got in the top 10 as well as an individual angler. I think he got 6th overall. So that's a massive feat to go up there and fish an unknown waterway and catch some decent flatties. I think he got one about 80 centimetres was his biggest, and I think 90 centimetres was the biggest for the tournament. But well done, Jack. You are probably one of Port Stephens' better flathead fisherman, that is for sure. Stay tuned. I'm going to try and get out with Jack at some stage over the next couple of weeks. See how we go. See if he can teach me some stuff, or I'll probably teach him some stuff more like it. Anyway, so still brim around in the bay as well. So Brenton got onto them on the surface lure. So that water is warming nicely. I think it's around 21, maybe pushing 22 now. So that'll signal some surface action, especially on the brim. It'll only get better from now on in, and if you can score those incoming tides, first light and last light, especially that last light one, if we get a storm approaching, the brim absolutely go off on the surface lures. So definitely worth a shot on the surface lures at the moment. Pelagic wise, the Mac tuna's sporadic. They've been in and out of Shoal Bay and then pushing out the heads with the bigger tides, but there has been plenty of salmon and tailor. Just be careful though, because they've been holding up in that sanctuary zone at Halifax. Plenty of photos to go around people not knowing that sanctuary zone, but just be careful down there. But they are getting into Shoal Bay on the outgoing tide, feeding on very, very small bait. Again, those 5 to 10 gram metals are doing the trick at the moment. So that's a bait in a nutshell. Put the crab traps in, plenty of muddies up towards Koorarai here as well. Beaches and rocks. Now the rocks have been a little bit quiet. There was a few fish caught, a few drummer and stuff like that, but a little bit quiet on the rocks this week. I know down on 1 Mile Point, there's been a few lardrick and a few bonito and salmon off the point there, but a little bit quiet this week on the rocks. The beach has been fishing okay. Still lots of salmon on the beaches, and still a few nice tailor around, brim as well. Whiting won't be too far away, just need that water to warm up. A couple of degrees and the whiting should be bang on the beaches. There are a couple around, but I wouldn't say they're on fire at the moment. And I think after these big tides, we're going into some really sort of neat tides. I think fishing for mulloway off the beaches over the next week should prove pretty good. I like October, November for fishing mulloway off the beaches, so definitely worth a shot doing that. Now on the offshore, some good reds caught this week. I know the Pavement boys got up to the north there, got some nice reds on plastics. Been some big kings up towards Seal Rocks. There's been plenty of bait up there. The bait has been scarce down this end of Port Stephens, but up towards Seal Rocks, there's been plenty of slimies up that way, and I know some really nice kings up there. I know some local lads that went, I was going to say skip baiting. I enjoy that, but stick baiting, and absolutely got annihilated by 3 big fish. So definitely worth a run up there if you want to throw some stick baits around at the moment. Further down, the big gibber fishing pretty well. A couple of trag caught off there this week, so good to see a couple of trags starting to go back in the mix. A couple of pearlies as well. Back down towards the outer 21, inner 21 there, you'll find some snapper and I think a few trag through there. I think the shallows should start to fish a little bit better once we get off the back of this moon. The snapper and the shallows should start to get a little bit more aggressive once we get off the back of this moon. So give that a shot. If not, fish that deeper water. This year I'm finding the snapper being in that 40 to 50 metre range and doing pretty well out in that depth of water. Back down, spoke to Ted. He actually fished off the back of Little Island there on first light. Got a couple of really nice reds, throwing some baits into the washers. One about 4 kilos and one about 7 kilos. So he did pretty well. That was just before the moon there over the weekend. So did pretty well to catch those fish, the amount of boats that were out there. So definitely worth a shot fishing the washers as well for a few nice reds around at the moment. There's been plenty of salmon on the headlands. If you want to go for a troll around Fingal Headland there, good for the kids. I think the conditions this weekend will be good for that as well. Back down towards Boulder Bay, there's been some nice reds down that way as well. So too Boat Harbour. I heard the Urala's fishing pretty well for snapper as well. Just depending on that current. Current's pushing hard one day, not the next. So you just got to rely on that current to slow up a little bit, but a bit of trickle from the north does pretty well. A couple of striped marlin out on the edge during the week there. I know a couple of boys that managed to find 1 or 2 striped marlin. Looking at the altimetry and the currents, we've got a 0 line straight out the front, a little bit of a trickle from the north to the south. I spoke to Scotty down at Terrigal there, Scotty Thorrington, and I believe he caught a striped marlin during the week as well. So if you're keen on doing that, it looks like a good weekend to go and prospect for a striped marlin. These are teaser fishing or go skip baiting. You might find 1 or 2. It just depends how much bait's on the edge of the shelf. Anyway, big report this week. That's because the fishing's really good. It is spring. It is time to get out there. Weather's glorious. I'd say get out there this weekend and have a fish, because I think you're going to do pretty well. We'll speak next week.